Hiya. So it's me again, and today I have come to talk about how I am approaching Maple going forward. Now, for any of you who don't know or if haven't checked out my last video, I was having another identity crisis, as I do, because I don't know if, or I didn't know if this was what I wanted going forward. I thought about it again. I gave it a whole week. I didn't stream. I didn't do anything. And I put out a video asking you guys on your opinions. Should I play my Cannon Master, my Dual Blade, or my Marksman? And I also wanted to hear if anybody was going through a similar situation and how they kind of went around it. Now, I did read a lot of those comments, and there was a lot of comments. So I'm sorry if I missed any that were in the comments. But I read a lot of the comments, and I've finally come to the conclusion. And the conclusion is that I'm going to be going back to Chronos and playing on the Cannon Master. Essentially, returning back home and doing what I know how to do best. Now, I'll give my reasoning as to why I'm doing this kind of thing and how I'm going to be approaching it going forward, and how I want to keep myself in check so that, I'm not basically switching up every few weeks. I want the content to be consistent. I want something that I can focus on for Maple, so that going forward, if I want to take on any other projects, or if I want to play other games, I can make content on not just Maple, but on other games as well. So essentially, what it allows me to do, if I stay consistent, is make content on Maple, and make content on anything else if I'd like. Or if I don't want to make any other content, then I can make even more content for Maple. Now, I will be playing the Marksman for dailies until it gets to BM. It does have the damage as long as I do the dailies and I progress my Arcane Force to 1320, so I'm going to be doing that to help out my friends for the first month. But the reason why I'm not continuing to progress on the Marksman is because I've realized 2, maybe 3 key facts. The first thing is that my initial goal of, I want to be number 1, I want to be the best of the best, is something that I've realized is just kind of nonsensical now that I'm putting it into practice in the first place. Why is this? Because I've hit number 1 on Marksman in Dojo. Everybody's on a fresh start. I was number 1 in Dojo for how long? I was number 1 level-wise, but I decided to do Legion instead. Had all the time on Legion been put into my Marksman. Anyways, I digress. That's number 1. And number 2, I've realized that, let's say if I were to play in a category like Nightwalker or contested category, the people at the top are farming for atrocious amounts of time that I know I will never be able to farm. And 3, the reason for this is because even if I'm not doing the highest damage or whatever the case may be, I'm not the highest damage, I'm not the highest level, I'm not doing specific bosses, I know a lot about the game. Whether it's potentials, how to upgrade your gear, Legion pieces, what to burn, how to use items, so on, so forth, boss mechanics, bossing. That is, in essence, and this might sound like it's coming from a place where, yeah, it's kind of egotistical, I agree, but I know and I'm confident in my abilities, and I can say genuinely that I am probably one of the best people to play this game. Going forward, I'm probably going to attempt hard Saren, easy Kalos, and easy Kaling solos on my Cannon Master when I get a little more damage and I get some practice in. Maybe a little more Sacred Force would help, because I'm not quite there yet. But that's my reasoning for why I'm not playing the Marksman. And because, you know, like I've logically come to this conclusion in my head, or, you know, when I think about it, right? It becomes meaningless to play the whole game again, essentially, right? This is where the real grind starts. Getting to 275 and beyond is hard. Getting to 8K is hard. And, you know, when you think about it more and more, it's like, well, you've already proved that, you know, you're pretty good at the game. And so if I've proved that much, then I've technically accomplished my goal. And I can go back and do what is kind of itching in the back of my mind, whether it was my DB or my CM. That is why I'm returning. And I know CM is trash, and I know I want to push endgame bosses, but CM is the 6th job that I want to see. And at this point in time, I just have to accept the fact that if I want to clear those endgame bosses and I want to push, I just have to be patient. That's it. Whether it's on my marksman, by the time my marksman gets to that point in time where I do all those bosses, I'm going to have to be patient. So the same logic applies to my dual blade and my cannon master. So I might as well just do it on the character that I want to see most, because it is the class that I do enjoy the most. And there's probably going to be people in the comments, I know, typing away, but how could you just get 6K and then walk away like nothing happened? And, you know, I kind of do agree with that. It does seem very silly and psychotic in a sense. But the thing is, for me, I feel like I haven't walked away with nothing. I've walked away with 2 important things. The first thing is the fact that I got content out of it, and honestly, I really enjoyed seeing how the new server progressed. But at this point in time, it becomes stale, and well, it's becoming stale. Not that it is stale, like there's still people progressing and clearing stuff. The fact that Black Mage and Saren were cleared in December is insane to me. Actually insane. I'm looking forward to when people are going to start doing Easy Callus and Kaling. Especially considering that people probably still have their titles, and if they use those titles to get extra sacred power, it's going to be done very, very early. But I digress. I've walked away with A, content, and B, I've walked away with more knowledge, an important lesson, right? And not even just a lesson, but just more about myself, and more about the fact that I know I'm always going to end up back to the place that I enjoy most. Even if it's trash, I know CM is trash, it does no damage. Let a man cope. Because, you know, I wouldn't want to have it any other way, if I were to be completely honest. And if I do want to sweat, I can take the DB on as a side project. The DB is doing, I mean, as much as my CM, and it doesn't even have a 6 job. It doesn't even have Roar 4, which my CM actually got this week as I was just messing around and having fun. That was super interesting. I finally beat the allegations of being ACAD 3. Maybe I can be promoted to ACAD 4. But yeah. As to why I'm not playing my DB, well, it's very simple. I think the DB is very, very far behind in SAC. So it's one of those where, yeah, like I'd have to be patient. But in that same regard, right, like it's my CM, I did throw out the cannon. For anybody who knows what's been going on stream, I'm going to have to wait for Liberation on that character. But the idea is that I can still attempt these bosses because Sacred Power is more important than the Jenny weapon. Especially considering that I can still make improvements to 6 job and still improve my damage massively. I have Weapon Jump 4, and I have a lot of improvements waiting on my Arcane pieces, Potential, and Flame-wise, and I still have some potentials to fix and Double Prime. So we can get a lot stronger on the CM, and that's why I'm picking my CM over the DB, because I'd rather at least be able to attempt these bosses. even if, you know, the parties aren't the greatest, or if the difficulties aren't the highest, just being able to attempt those bosses and getting that earlier knowledge is something I definitely want to do. And I have gotten suggestions. Hey, why haven't you made a Cannon Master on Hyperion? And I definitely think that's a good suggestion. But it's one of those situations where I just think that it's just too late. The reason for this is because, let's say I want to start a Cannon Master from fresh. Then I have to get to 270 without any nodes, meso, or the resources that I got when leveling my marksman. Now granted, I do have 6k Legion, so I'll be a little bit stronger starting out, and I won't have to worry in that regard being at absolute zero, but not having nodes is a big one, and not having just gear, you know, no event rings, no Absolab weapon is going to make it extremely difficult to get to that point again. And it's not something that I personally want to deal with. And let's say if I were to make this Cannon Master on a new account, I can get those resources, but then I have to do 6k again, and I lose all of my NX and the MVP that goes with it, which is not something that I'm particularly interested in either. And for the person who told me to play Corsair, I definitely appreciate you watching, and I love you, but no, I'm not doing that. So, this leaves us to, where are we going forward? Now, for anybody who watches my stream, and for anybody who knows, I don't have a Genesis weapon anymore. I threw it out. I threw it out when I changed to Buck, as, you know, like a sign or a token that I would commit to what I was doing. But the Buck 6 job just looks so boring, and personally, I want to see how CM 6 job develops firsthand and show it for everybody. Maybe this is the redemption arc for Cannon Master. I'm coping again. I'm coping really hard. Please do not inhale this. It's bad for your health. But if it does get better, I want to see it and experience it firsthand. I feel like that would be awesome, so that's what we're going to be doing going forward. We're just going to continue min-maxing the Cannoneer, finishing its potentials, hopefully getting a weapon jump 4, maybe a continuous 4. That would be really awesome. Yo, Nexon, you know, you could slide me one. That would be really sick. But yeah, we're going to try finishing the Cannoneer down to the very bit, double priming, trying to get every single Oz ring, maxing out its 6 job. It's going to be the focus once again. Now, I'm not saying it's the death of the DB or the death of the marksman, because this also means that going forward, like, once again, the options are available to me, and I can use this as a tool for when I'm bored to make even more content, right? This is like the main goal, and I think the best thing to come out of this is, now that I have more options, if I ever don't enjoy the CM, I just drop it for a few days, play the DB and the marksman if push comes to shove, and then we just come back and see what's going on again and get back into the swing of things. Now, because I don't have a Genesis weapon, of course, if weekly bosses drop arcane weapons, I'm going to attempt to go for a 22 arcane weapon, because having a 17-star weapon for the next, what is it going to be, almost 7 months going forward is definitely going to be crippling. Now, the event buffs and the 6 job is definitely helping out a lot. So we're at least good in that regard. At least for now, I don't have to worry about anything. But going forward, it's definitely going to be very hard to push content when my damage is regressing backwards. So we're going to need to hopefully get arcane weapons to get at least that up to 22. Hopefully get some pitched so that my damage can just go up that way. Now, if I do get an emblem, my damage will go up a lot, because the Saren emblem will allow me to fix my WSE's ratio, if you will, and allow me to get a lot more value out of my familiars. But yeah, that'll be it. I just want to, before I go, thank everyone who came along for the journey on the Marksman. I'm still going to be doing Culvert Flag for all three of the characters that I'm, interested in, if you will. Because I do want to keep my G skills, and I'll progress passively, push comes to shove if need be. And yeah, essentially what's going to happen is we're going to go back and finish what we started, right? I looked at myself in one point in time and I said, I want to be one of the strongest cannoneers. So, number one, obviously not possible. Maybe I won't even be among the strongest, but I'm definitely gonna, be myself and just enjoy what I enjoy the most. And if I can't push content, or if I can't do it, then so be it. But with 6th job and Sacred going up, and hopefully when I get my Genesis weapon again, will be a lot stronger going forward. And hopefully by that point in time, all of the content should be possible. And hopefully, this is very cope, but maybe we start to see Cannoneer get the justice it deserves. So, yeah. Cheers, everyone. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Remember to like, comment, and sub, or I will literally eat your mesos faster than Star Forcing does. Thanks.